Welcome to the show, Brittany. Thank you so much for being here.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited. I love what you're doing, and I love when the team heard about you. We thought this is a great time to have you on. We think this is also this idea about sustainability is something that we're hearing. A lot of us are hearing the younger generations kind of pushing us in this direction. It's been a big topic of conversation, and I think it's important to kind of build more awareness about it and what people can do. So first, let me just start by asking you, how did you get started with Spin&Give? What's your background? How did you get into this?
So, I mean, Spin&Give was really born out of the realization, especially after becoming a mom, of how can I do better for him? I put him on this planet. This planet is going through phases of needing some help, environmental wise, especially, and sustainable, and fashion is the #2 pollutant in the world. And the turnover of children's clothes is almost like fast fashion itself. You can't really help it. They grow so fast. So it came into a realization of we all can do better in the sustainability and keeping things out of landfill, because it is so hard when they grow. You know, it can get donated. Where does it go? You can pass it down,
right?
But really and truly, how can we make it stay out of landfills? And that's kind of been my promise and my passion. And where I really had this aha moment about it, I had worked in the entertainment industry for probably about 15 years. First, I produced television. I ran Unbelievable Entertainment, which is my best friend Eva Longoria's production company.
Oh, awesome.
And yeah, we've known each other since we were 18.
Oh, well, yeah, you'll have to tell us your background, where you grew up and all of that.
Yes, I'll tell you the story about how we met and how I became her producing partner back in 2005, I believe it was. So we did that for a few years. And back then it was her getting massive amounts of gifts and items, and it's a marketing idea from these brands, which is brilliant. You know, they get it to the celebrities wear it, and then it's shown all over. And now it's their children. And when I talk to her, she's like, my son gets more stuff than I ever did as an actress. And when I was sitting with her one day, and she was going through all these beautiful clothes and strollers and such, and she was like, I don't know, you know, he's not going to be able to wear this because it's going to, by the time he fits it, it's going to be the wrong season. You know, he'll wear this maybe once or twice and he's going to grow out of it. And I said the same thing, my son too, you know, like I remember how quickly things just progress. Well, she's just getting tons of stuff. So I was like, wait a minute, what if instead of doing something, which I'm sure you're familiar with, the Real or ThreadUp or even Buffalo Exchange, I don't know that they do children, but you know, typically you go and you donate it, or you don't donate it, you give it to a store like the Real, and you pocket that commission, you make some money off of it. And I go, but for you and other entertainment personalities, do you really need the 100, 200, even maybe 1,000 here and there?
Right.
And she's like, no. And I go, why don't I donate that money to a charity that you choose? And she was like, brilliant, do it. And then it turned into where she spoke to some of her friends. I spoke to some of people in the industry I knew, because I knew some people in the music industry as well. And it just trickled, and it became a thing, a celebrity after celebrity, CEOs, agents, musicians, managers, stylists. They all just started following suit, going, yeah, this is incredible. So they get to pick the charity. And they donate, and some of them are private, some don't want to be known as a donor, which is fine. I have some Oscar winners, you know, like, and I would love to talk about it, but some are very private about it, but some are open. They're like, yes, put my name all over it, tell them it's mine, you know, because it sells. And so that's kind of where it all was born. I was really sitting with her and going, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff.
How long has it been going?
Well, I started it probably about 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And what I did is I had to create a 501c3, so it's half not for profit, half profit to
Mm-hmm.
keep the company going.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I was just doing it all by myself, and it just wasn't, I didn't know how to do Instagram or the
Mm-hmm.
marketing parts of it. And finally, I actually spoke to one of Eva's husband's business partners, and I go, how can I make the website better? How can I get this out there to get the sales that I need? And he goes, that's what I do. I'm a digital marketing agent. I was like, great, you're hired.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
It was perfect. And I mean, within 3 months, so this was all in this last year, because I had been trying to do it for 2 years. I was in a storage unit trying to do it. And then I rented a warehouse. And then, because I just had so much, I started out of my house actually, then to the unit, storage unit. Then I just had so much stuff. I had to get into a warehouse. And that's when I hired Jeff. And he goes, give me 3 months. Let me redo this website. Let me get a marketing plan together. And within 3 months, we started seeing sales. It just turned over by like June. I mean, I gave him like January, February, March, April, and then May, June, it started picking up. It was insane.
Wow. So,
Yeah.
and when you say sales, what does that mean? So he's basically putting the items on your website and people can come purchase the items and then the donation is made on behalf of whoever gave the item.
The items. Yes, exactly. So it's just like any online boutique. It just looks like a children's luxury resale shop, basically. And yeah, you go online, you purchase the item. Some of the items say they're Eva's. Some of the items say they're mine, which is exciting for some people.
Yeah.
And then we have a list of our donors. So that's exciting for people to see who's been donating.
Yeah.
And then you see the charity that they're giving to. So some of it is like, oh, I want to purchase this because I want to help this charity.
Right.
So yeah, so they just buy it like anything. And then we just have it to where then the money goes into the 501c3 and then we donate on behalf of them. So that the celebrity gets the write-off. It really benefits them and we give back to their charity. So
I love
awesome.
that.
Thank you.
So for general audience, so these are the people who you are looking for donations from, or people in the entertainment industry who are celebrities, but for the people, anybody can go as a consumer, so to speak, and go to your website and purchase, right?
Yes,
so
exactly.
That's kind of the ecosystem. You're looking for the celebrities to donate the items, and then you're looking for people not like me, non-celebrities, to kind of go there and potentially purchase product.
In the purchase product, yes. This is one way to do it. I started it just out of the sense of like, God, turnover and the kids and growing and how great to donate back to charity. But as I started researching about the fashion industry and about the sustainability and about the landfills and all the statistics about that, I got very passionate about those things. How can we turn this around? And it's really either got to be where we can regenerate clothes. And I know there's companies out there starting to do that. So things are cyclical. And then also, how do we do better about keeping things out of landfills, period. I ask my donors, the celebrities, to send me everything. I don't care if it has a hole in it. I don't care if it's got stains on it. We'll try and get those things mended and fixed. But if they even think like, oh, this is so overworn, no one's ever going to wear it. Well, we have other charities that we donate to under umbrella. So we can do these toy drives or do these other charities where these kids and these families need clothes on their back, refugees. So I ask for everything. And then if it doesn't get used or donated, then I am looking to regenerate it into new, more organic, sustainable cotton.
That's amazing. Well, can we talk a little bit about what happens when we have all of this waste, right? Because you were inspired to create this, as you said, to make the world a better, safer place for your child, right? And other people's children, right?
Other people, yes.
And I think it's important for people to understand what are the implications of that waste on the world that we're living in for ourselves, for our children.
Yeah. So, some of the big things that hit me was, first of all, fashion is the number 2 pollutant in the world.
Wow.
Number 2, fashion and textiles, I should say. It's like, I think it's oil and gas first, and then fashion. And
is that just because there's so much wasted material?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, wasted material. When people throw it away, when we donate it to other organizations, there's some out there that are so large, and I know they're trying to do good, but there's so much given and donated and dropped off. And I used to do this too. And I would just drop it off. And I started to think, where is that going? And I started researching and realizing only 15 to 20% of that gets sold within those organizations, the larger ones, and 80% gets sent off to developing countries. So we just send it overseas and we sell it to them too. We make money.
Yeah.
And it goes and it sits, it either gets reused through their factories, which abuse women, abuse children. The working conditions are terrible. It's like 15 cents an hour they make. And what's happening is these fast fashion companies are competing. And so one factory will say, well, we'll do it for 20 cents. We'll do it for 10 cents. So then the women and children and men that work in those factories just, I don't know how they survive. There's a documentary that everybody should watch called The True Cost, and it'll really show you what's going on over there. So think of it, 80% of it's getting discarded, sent over to other landfills. And it's either dumped into those landfills or incinerated. And the clothes that end up in those landfills will sit for 200 plus years.
Oh my gosh.
And while they're sitting there, they emit methane gases. It's a greenhouse gas that is more potent than carbon. So we're not even talking about carbon footprint anymore. Like the carbon, it's methane gases. And what's happening to the people that are near these landfills, which is even more sad, is that those chemicals from the polyesters, which are made of oil, and other fabrics, are seeping into their soil, into their water systems, into anything, that they end up ill. Children are born deformed or dead. It's really sad what we're just throwing over there and we're not thinking about it.
Right.
And so that breaks my heart. There's just so much I think we can do with what we have already. And that's why I say any resale is great. I don't care if you're getting it from ThreadUp or all these other great resale boutiques. Like there's some great stuff out there that has barely been worn or never worn at all. I mean, I've sent stuff with tags on it. Yeah. Like there's enough here on our planet already. And if you do want to buy something, buy that piece that is just going to last a lifetime. Right. That is something that you will keep forever. There's so many books about, and shows now about, trimming down your closet, just keep the necessities and the basics, which is great. But when you get rid of those things, like where are they going? Yeah. So I mean, my dream is to take all those things. I even think about like the holy underwear and the bras. I just read a thing about a bra company. Is it Adorn or Adorn? They will take used bras and send it to other countries where the women can actually sell them on the streets, because the other countries, these women don't have bras, and they can make a living that way. And it's a woman-run business out there, so they're not being controlled by men or being abused. So it's a beautiful thing. So a lot of these companies need to think of that. Like, how can we make our used items help other people or live forever? And my dream is to you know, when a customer does purchase something online, chances are it's brand new, like new, or gently worn. And I think, well, their child's only going to wear it for a few months, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm giving incentive for them to send it back, free postage, and let me resell it again and again if I can, until it isn't wearable anymore. And then we look at donations or upcycling or regenerating it.
That's amazing.
So there's got to be ways that we can keep these clothes going and going and going.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, I want to talk about generationally how this all works, because I did not grow up in a time where there was recycling. I mean, yes, you know, people kind of had their bottles that maybe they recycled. Plastic was like the kind of the first thing, and you'd maybe recycle, but it really was something that started, and certainly my children learned about it immediately from a young age. They understood, this is how we recycle, this is what we do. And I feel like there's a different appreciation for sustainability, the impact with this younger generation than there maybe is with old generations. So I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about this. Do you think that younger generations are a bit more plugged in to this notion that, okay, we have to recycle and we have to be kind to the planet? And then if so, do you think that this issue that we're all dealing with of waste is going to get better as time passes, since the younger generations will grow older and hopefully be teaching their kids to do the same?
Yeah, 100%, you're right. Like, I grew up in that generation too, where we just threw clothes away, or we donated to Goodwill or Salvation Army and had no idea where they ended up. And as I've seen, I have younger brothers and sisters, or half brother and sisters that are 20, 22, 24. And those children, like, somehow they've been born to be like, guys, what are you doing? You know what I mean? Like, this is ridiculous. They buy secondhand. They love shopping thrift stores. My mom would take me into a thrift store or a garage sale, and I would just be like, oh, gross, Mom, I can't wear something old and used. Now I'm like all about it, but because I've seen what it's done and I feel responsible, right? But I started the company just doing newborn to about 17, and I'm going to go ahead and lift that to young adults, because they get it. They get it. And there's a cancel culture out there with them too. If you're not being truly sustainable, they will catch you. It's this Gen Z generation of, you guys have messed up our planet and now we're going to fix it. And I truly believe they will. I mean, if I'm figuring it out by watching these kids really grasp what it means to be sustainable, because we're throwing that word around so easily that it's not really happening. I hear a lot of companies say they're doing this. We're making clothes out of plastic bottles. Well, then you're putting it in your washing machine, and then you're putting microplastics into the water, and then we're drinking plastic in the ocean, you know. So anytime some clothing company tries to start something, these Gen Zers are like, you're wrong. This is wrong. You know, and they will cancel you. And so I'm being very cautious of what I do and say because of that. And I want to get the celebrities that are in that generation, because I think they're going to be so influential if they partner with us and start donating their clothes and talking about how we keep respending them. And then if we can find a way to regenerate them, that's my ultimate dream. I'm speaking with a company that does it. And you know, the Stella McCartneys and the you know, Adidas and Levi's are really making that regenerating happen. And so if they can do it, everybody should be able to do it. And I think, you know, you're dead straight correct. Like, this young generation, man, they understand it, and not just with fashion, with everything. And so it's just a portion of it. So if I can get those influential people at that age group, I think we're really going to skyrocket and take off. I would love to get to adults clothing someday soon too, but I don't have room.
Yeah.
But for now, I'm like, let me get the most influential generation and get them on board as quickly as possible. So that's something we're working on now.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
One, it seems like such a natural place for
Progression.
you to go.
Yeah.
And as you get more space to go into, you know, adult clothing as well.
Yeah.
So you tell us about your story, how you met Eva Longoria, who has become is your partner in this, right? She's working, she's one of the people helping you.
She's one of the donors.
Donating. She was one of your first people involved in this.
To talk about it really helped me, you know, get it. I mean, she's such a leader in all aspects too of things politically, environmentally. Like, she has so many wonderful foundations. So we met when we were 18. Both, you know, grew up in Texas, and it's sort of I don't know if it's a rite of passage, but it's just something we all kind of did back then, was pageants. And like we both would do Miss Texas, and I think it was like 3 years in a row. But like in college, I went to a private Lutheran college at the time. It was like very small, and we didn't have sororities or anything, and same with her. And so it was like our sorority. We would go every summer and spend 2 weeks together and just have the best time. And you would bond with like a couple of girls.
Yeah.
And she was one of them every year. And we would just, you know, get to be together and hang out. And I remember the last year we were doing it, we were starting to age out. And she sits down next to me and she goes, I'm going to move to Los Angeles and be an actress. And I was like, oh, good luck with that. That's so good, you know? And I mean, sure enough, a year later, she's on a soap opera.
That's amazing.
And I was still living in Texas at the time and was planning to move here to California. Moved here, and, you know, and I hadn't talked to her in probably a year or so or more. And went to the Gold's Gym opening in downtown Los Angeles, and I turn around and she's there. And so we reconnected. We start talking and just catching up. She's like, this is my boyfriend, and these are my friends. And she's just talking and talking and talking. And I can't remember what happened, but for some reason I had to leave, and abruptly I was with another friend, and we didn't get each other's information. And I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I hadn't seen her in years. And I finally run into her a month later, where I'm flying home on Southwest to go back to Austin. And I'm in line, and I hear her laugh in her voice. Is that Brittany? Sure, and there she is. And so we sat on the plane together, and after that, it was like inseparable ever since. So
that's awesome. Well, it was meant to be. It was meant to be.
It was meant to be.
Right? Fate was like, I'm putting these two people together.
Yeah. And they tried once, and then we didn't make it work. And they were like, oh gosh, let me get you guys together again. And ever since that, inseparable. And then I had left to go to get my master's in Boston for visual and media arts, television production, documentary filmmaking. I was into all of that. And as I was doing my thesis, I had to write a short script and cast it, produce it, direct it, write it, everything. And I did my last semester here in Los Angeles, and I put her in it. And she'd been shooting Desperate Housewives, but it hadn't aired yet. And so by the time my project showed at the school that I went at Emerson, everybody's like, how did you get Eva? Because then it had aired. How did you get Eva Longoria in your production? And it's like, she wasn't, you know, she was easily happily to do it. And so from that point, her being with me and her seeing my work ethic and what I had been studying, she was like, I've always wanted to start a production company. Would you please help me build and start mine? I don't have time to do it all. And so we did. And I worked with her for about 5 years producing shows, and it was awesome. And then I got a job offer to go. I kind of had wanted to go back to Austin again, and got offered a job to produce music festivals. So I did that for 10 years, which was a lot of fun
Awesome.
and a big experience. And another place where I saw a lot of celebrity getting gifts, like we would gift them so much stuff to be an artist on the
Mhm.
show.
Mhm.
And there's the brands and sponsorship deals that I ran, seeing how much money and product is given to these people, which
Yeah.
is great. It gets their product out there, but then it's like, what are they going to do with all this stuff, you know?
Yep. Yep. I
And
love
so
that.
that was a huge influence for me. Eva was for sure. My father is an environmentalist and activist, and he's a huge inspiration to me too,
Mm.
especially with the environmental aspects that he's done and saved. You know, lots of land that was going to turn into apartments and buildings and you know, historical pieces of land. So
Mhm.
between the two of them, just really seeing how important this is, that every generation should get it and understand that we've got to do something. I don't know,
Mhm.
and I don't know if it's true, but you know, from what it sounds like, we have 30 years to fix it, and that's really quick. That'll go by
Yeah.
fast.
Oh, sure will. It goes by in the blink of an eye, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So what's something that everyday people, women
Mhm.
listening to this, can do to be involved, to get involved, and to actually be involved in a useful way?
I guess I would suggest one, try to swap it with friends if you can,
Mm,
hand
mhm.
it down. Like, you know, I've heard of all these girlfriend groups get together, and it's like something old to you may be new to somebody else. And
Yeah.
so you can have these little parties and get together with your girlfriends and be like, look, I'm getting ready to get rid of this.
Yeah.
And it's like somebody else's treasure, you know, whatever that
Yeah.
saying is. Uh, and so that's one way I would kind of start. And then if
Mhm.
it's stuff that's just, you know, really feel like it's lived its last life. You know, I know what it's like to go to Buffalo Exchange or what are some other ones where you can go and they go through your stuff right in front of you and they're like, nope, nope, no. And you're like, oh my God, that's brand new. Or, oh my God, that's like
Mhm.
a top brand. And they only take, you know, seasonal stuff and they only take, you know, really top brand, you know, can't have any wear and tear really. So they get really specific. I mean, I always try to go there first. And what's scary is they do say anything we don't take, we'll throw in this bin and we'll give it to Goodwill.
Yeah.
And that makes me nervous.
Yeah. Yep.
Um, the only other way is to hopefully see that these smaller thrift stores will take
Mhm.
anything. There's organizations like, you know, I can't think of the names of them, but that do it for battered women,
Mm.
for families in need, to refugees. Like I would send it to these organizations where you know it goes on the children and the women's and men's backs. Like
Yeah.
it just takes research, you know, and time, unfortunately, and it may be a drive or a big shipping fee, but I think it's so much more worth it to make sure it gets to those that really need it. If you can't pass it down or give it back or give it to a friend or to send it to a consignment shop to resell it,
Yeah.
there's got to be, you know, there's other thrift stores or organizations that hold these little stores for women in shelters and children in shelters and families in need. Um, the list is endless of them, and I've researched and seen tons of them. And then my last hope is save it, because there's gonna be,
Mhm.
I'm even thinking about putting like a bin near my warehouse or do some of these bins out and about and just say,
Mhm.
give me your holy, trashed, dirty, ucky, really worn stuff that you can't even really donate to children and families in need. And my dream is to work with some of these companies that they break down clothes molecularly
Mm.
and regenerate it into even more organic thread,
Mhm.
to make new clothes with, that are sustainable and that break down just as easily again and again. So then it becomes cyclical. So all those cotton things, they're even starting to talk about using mixed fabrics which is
Mm-hmm.
really hard, and it seems hard to break down, but they've figured it out. So that's my dream. I'm talking with some companies that are doing that, and they're like, use the verbiage, but we can't quite partner with you. I need more stuff.
Yeah.
I need
Yeah.
more things. So I think once they get their funding too, they're in the middle of fundraising.
Yeah.
That they'll be putting these machines out everywhere, and it'll be somewhere we can just give them our clothes and they're made into new ones.
I love that. And so it sounds like there are some options now, but hopefully there'll be more moving forward. And maybe even your company or your organization. So Brittany, if people want to follow you, follow what your organization is doing, what is the best place for them to go do that?
So obviously we have an Instagram account. So it's at Spin&Give written out. So we post a lot on Instagram talking about what we're doing, what charities we're working with, what celebrities we're working with, if any new ones, sales that we have. And also we talk a lot about the sustainability in the fashion industry and some of those facts. So you can learn a lot about that on there too, on our Instagram account. And then I believe it's Facebook too. It's the same thing. You can go online and we have our website there, shopspinandgive.com, and we have a lot of information too on there about the bad and the good of this fashion industry, like what's going on bad, and by buying this way, how you're helping.
I love that. And everyday women, again, like me, we can go there and we can shop. We can go online and we can shop.
Anybody can go on there and shop. Moms, women, friends, aunts, uncles, grandmas. I have a lot of grandmas that shop on there for their grandchildren. It's open to everybody at shopspinandgive.com.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing. And thank you for spending the time to share it with us. I can't wait for our audience to hear more about it. And hopefully we can't wait to see what you do next, because it sounds like you're relatively early in the process, a few years in, but you've got so much more runway ahead of you. So
much to do. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.